This is a comedy podcast brought to you by me. You should know my name by now. Lovdev Barbega. I hope I pronounced that right. Today's episode is 159. Scratch it and move on. Welcome back to another weekly podcast. I've been keeping this going. I'm not sure how or why, but I have. Hello, everyone. Hello. How are you guys doing? I'm just fiddling about with my headphones. I feel like I need a new pair of headphones because I can't really hear myself. When I'm recording this, I like to hear my own voice. I know. So I couldn't hear myself, but I can hear myself way better, and I feel like I've messed about with the audio settings, and it seems to be working now. Well, we'll just crack on and see what it does. How is everyone out there? How are my fine people? I am very good. Very, very good. I've had a mad week. I've had a couple of problems talking about technical things. So you guys know I bought this Lumix camera. It's top of the range. It's one of those 4K cameras that you can use to film your own movie, special, whatever you want to call it. Used it for the first time last night at a gig in a place called Harbour Magna. I know, I've never heard of it either. It's in between Coventry and Rugby, but I think it comes under the Rugby postcode. It was an Indian restaurant / pub. And honestly, it was weird. Like, when I got there, I got into the room and I thought, what is this, man? It was like someone's put a microphone and a speaker in a random room that's not even, like, separated from the rest of the pub. It's like, there's no doors or nothing. So people on the other side of the pub can hear what we're saying. And the people that were in that room at the beginning looked like they weren't that bothered about comedy. You know when you go to a restaurant and they have someone playing music in the background and you're just there to eat? That's what it felt like. So I knew that I had to just go full on because I was headlining it. I had to go full on, just do my stuff, try and get the audience involved a little bit. And I genuinely loved it. It was weird. A weird gig. It felt like an open mic night. But everyone was enjoying it, and I was enjoying it, and I absolutely loved it. And I thought, to be fair, I prefer these types of gigs anyway. They're a bit more intimate, a bit more engaging. Had a fantastic time. Got to use my camera, as I said. Set it all up, and the footage looks good. I was quite worried because a lot of people say you do end up with a lot of problems. You will get problems on your first attempt or first couple of attempts, especially using a mirrorless camera if you've never used one before. But I was fine. I was absolutely fine using it. And other news, good news. I mean, I'm not meant to mention this because they've said, don't mention this to anything. I am doing the Rick Mail Comedy Festival. It runs between May and June. End of May, I think it is, to the 7th of June, something like that. So I've actually got myself a venue. I mean, only my listeners will know this. I haven't announced it on Facebook or anything like that. So my half-soaked show will be coming to the Rick Mail Comedy Festival this year. I am dead excited about it. I think I'm actually going to get proper posters done this time. If you are a person out there who can design me a really lovely poster that I can edit in the future, maybe if I ever do a tour, I can use the same picture, the image, or whatever that is. If you are able to do that, then do get in touch with me. You can get in touch via Buzzsprout, which is what I host this podcast on. There's a little thing on the bottom where you press send message. So just send me a message if you fancy that. I'll be well up for it. Otherwise, I'll just try and find someone myself, innit? That's what I'll probably do. Had an interesting week as well. It was my daughter's 16th birthday. Her birthday is 6 days after mine. We were going to take her out for a meal, but then I decided to go and get some food from a place called Ryu Pan, I think it is. It's like a Thai, Japanese type of, food. Like, they do a mixture of stuff. And it was all right, you know. Like, I got in there and there was like South Asians in there, like Asian, like Indian, Pakistani. And I was thinking, do these guys know how to cook East Asian food? Do they know, or is it just like they've got a cookbook, they figured it out, and they're going to try their best? I mean, I'm not going to stereotype, but I did feel like I'm going to meet someone from Southeast Asia. There wasn't. They're all Asian, South Asian. Couldn't believe it. Anyway, I ordered the food online, so it's not like I could have even stopped it. So I'd got the food and it was all right. Do you know what I mean? We enjoyed it. It was okay. It wasn't bad. But for my son, I had to get him an egg fried rice and curry sauce from the actual Chinese. Because I know my son is fussy, and I thought if I order loads of different type of foods and he doesn't like any of it, then I'm in trouble. So as a backup, I brought him some egg fried rice. He is one of those people that he will only eat what he knows. Yeah, that's basically what he's like. But yeah, I'm trying to think, what else did we do? We had a cake, my dad come round, my parents come round. Took a couple of pictures on my new camera. I know I'm boasting about it, but I was quite impressed with it. You know what I mean? Like, I was like, oh wow, the quality on this is like, it's amazing. Now I can see why photographers use it. It makes a lot of sense. Rather than using your mobile phone. And the mobile phone I have takes great pictures as well. But the camera that I've got, oh my God, it's amazing. I've just got to learn it, that's all. But I am selling my camcorder. I've put it on eBay. I'll put it on Facebook, and no one's interested. So I'm probably stuck with it now. I don't want to be stuck with it, but I feel like I am stuck with it. I'm sure I'll get rid of it soon. I mean, it's a great camera, if anybody wants it. Like I said, inbox me. I thought I'll do a confessions. I haven't done one in a while. So, I thought let's just do one. I mean, I've just found it instantly on Reddit. No idea what it's about, but the title kind of gives it away. It's been posted by somebody called Fuzzy Mushroom. Their confession is, I used to get into fights all the time. Until I lost one to a girl. I'm guessing this is a guy, a bloke, getting into fights, and he got battered by a girl. That's hilarious. He probably didn't want to hit her. That's probably what it is, isn't it? I mean, I would never fight a girl, man. Girls are crazy, the wild. They don't stop, man. Trust me. Never fight a girl. They're solid as a rock. Let's see what it's all about. I think he's American, because it already starts with, when I was in middle and high school, definitely American, I used to get into lots of fights with guys. I was tall and worked out and had a reputation as a badass. Yeah, look at him. The thing is, fights with guys were usually over once somebody went down. I knew it. I was at a party and ended up fighting a girl because I had punched her boyfriend another time. I thought it was a joke at first. She was about a foot shorter. She beat the crap out of me. Though she hit me hard and did not stop when I was down. This girl is a legend, man. She didn't stop, I told ya. When a woman gets into a fight, they are not stopping, man. Blokes will stop, but not ladies. No way. Someone managed to pull her off, and she got loose and kneed me in the ribs. This is hilarious. And I got winded. She was on top of me before others pulled her off, and I never felt as vulnerable or scared. I realized that I had been playing at fighting and she was serious. Never fought again after that. She put him in his place. That's what she did. Oh, God, this woman, she's probably one of those cage fighters, isn't it? MMA, probably. Oh, man, that's... You know what? Whoever that's the girlfriend of, they're sorted for life, innit? That's something my missus would do. If she was in a fight, I don't think she would stop. I know what she's like. Not that I've been beaten up by her, but you know. So he's saying, I have relatives who work in schools who tell me they really get worried whenever there is a girl-on-girl fight to break up. They don't fight for ego, they fight for emotion, and they will not stop. Oh, God, that's hilarious. Fuzzy Mushroom, man, got battered by a girl. Oh, dear. Oh, that is a great confession, though. There's not many blokes out there who would admit that they got beaten up by a girl. That is so funny, man. I don't think I've ever had a fight with a girl. Have I ever had a fight with a girl? I've not had many fights, to be honest. I was one of those people who, if I got into a school fight, I would try and get out of it by being humour. Like, you know, like being funny. That's what I was like. I've never fighted a girl, but like in my line of work, you guys know I work in mental health. Working with women is a challenge in itself. Like when they do get upset, when they get angry, when they start fighting, they don't stop. That's what I was saying. That's why I say that. They don't, man. They will carry on. Whereas blokes, work with blokes in mental health services, they will basically stop. Like if you break it up or tell them to calm down, they usually do. But as women, nah, man, you gotta get hold of that lady and you gotta like just hold her until she calms down after like half an hour. That is hilarious. What a confession that is. I really like that. That was great. Do you know what? I was gonna tell you guys something on the last podcast episode, because when I finished recording it, I was like, oh, I forgot to mention that thing that I was gonna tell them, and now I've totally forgot again what it was I was going to tell you. I'm losing my memory, folks. I think it's ever since I've had my wisdom tooth took out, I feel like I've gone more stupid. Like, I was in the shower and I was thinking, why am I getting so wet? Left the house and I tried to lock my front door using my car keys. And I was thinking, why is my house not bleeping? That's how bad it is. It's that worse. I forgot how to ride a bike. I've stuck my stabilizers back on. That's how bad it is. I generally don't know what I was going to tell you, lot, but it doesn't matter. One thing I can tell you, I'm going to do a gig tonight in, where is it? It's in Preston, a little place called Longridge, and I'm headlining it. Way! Finally moving myself up that ladder. I'm capable enough to close a show. Whether I'm like on the same level as other comics, I don't know. There's probably comics listening to this going, nah, mate, you ain't ready yet. I don't know. I need to stop dissing myself. I'm sure I'm pretty decent. Who knows? Talking about decent. Wait, there's a segue. How about we do this?
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh, that's interesting. I'll tell you what, I think this is interesting. I found it on Reddit. You know, like I'm watching that thing that I told you about last week called Uncanny with Danny. Some of you have probably seen it. It's all about supernatural stuff. This is kind of related. It's obviously in America. Everything happens in America. But this is one of America's most haunted homes. It's known as the Allen House. It's in Monticello. Or Cello. Monticello? Monticello. We'll go with that one. It's in Arkansas. It's considered one of the most haunted homes in the United States, and for good reasons. It was built in 1906 by a businessman named Joe Lee Allen. Its ghostly reputation centers around his daughter, whose name is Liddell Allen. Liddell, spelt with La, as in rather than Adele. Liddell, that's a nice name, isn't it? Liddell. I've never heard that name before. On Christmas night in 1948, Liddell tragically took her own life by drinking mercury cyanide. Her mother was devastated, sealed off her bedroom, leaving it untouched for nearly 40 years. Wow. When the room was finally reopened, a bottle of cyanide was discovered on a closet shelf, adding to the house's mystery. Ooh. In 2007, Mark and Rebecca Spencer purchased the home, fully aware of its eerie history. They soon experienced strange occurrences, including faceless apparitions. Now, I'm just going to pause this little interesting fact. Weirdly enough, last night when I was watching Uncanny with Danny, I think it's season 2 of the series, but they film all of it in one, don't they? I can tell because Uncanny with Danny is still wearing that same red jumper, and he's wearing them on both episodes. They think they can fool us, but you can't. I know all of your tricks, BBC. There's little things like that I spot. I don't know what's wrong with me. Get back to the story, Lovdev. What are you talking about? Faceless apparitions. So Uncanny with Danny, season 2, as I said. Right. Very interesting. This episode is called Shadow Man. And well, as I was reading this story about this Allen house, I thought, it sounds very similar to what happened to this dude, the Shadow Man dude. Basically, he kept seeing this spirit, and it had no face. It was just a black, dark figure. And I thought, ooh, I wonder if it's the same thing. So, if you're wondering what's a faceless apparition, I'll quickly brief what it means. It refers to ghostly figures or spirits that appear without a distinct facial feature. So instead of a normal human face, these entities may have a blurred, blank, or shadowy experience. Some witnesses describe them as having smooth, featureless heads, while others say their faces seem obscured like a mist or a void. That's basically what happened with the Shadow Man. In paranormal lore, faceless ghosts are often associated with spirits that have lost their identity or they're trapped between worlds. It adds an extra level of creepiness. Imagine seeing a ghostly figure, but instead of the eyes and the mouth, there's nothing. That's proper horror movie, that is, isn't it? So let's get back to this Allen house with the faceless apparitions. So going back to Mark and Rebecca from 2007. One day, Mark felt compelled to explore the attic where he found 90 letters detailing Liddell's secret affair with a married man, suggesting heartbreak and may have led to her tragic end. The Allen house became a hotspot for paranormal investigators, even appearing on shows like Ghost Brothers. Visitors reported seeing ghostly figures, including what many believe to be Liddell herself. Although the house once opened for public tours, especially during Halloween, it officially closed to visitors last year, March. So they actually closed it. No more visits now. Returning to private ownership. But whether you believe in a ghost or not, the legend of the Allen house isn't going away for any time soon. For those curious about its haunted past, Mark Spencer, who bought this house, has actually written a book called A Haunted Love Story, and that basically dives deeper into the ghostly mysteries of the Allen house. There is today's interesting fact. Because I don't have that much to talk about, I'm just going to move on Let's do Ask the UK and then we'll do a weird news story. How about that? So I can just crack, you know what I mean? Just crack on with the day, innit? I'm a busy man, but I appreciate you guys like downloading and listening, and I don't know. Just keep this on the number 17 charts. Let's get it to number 10. Here we are. Let's do today's
Ask the UK.
Ask the UK. I love Ask the UK. I think it's becoming one of my favourite forums. This one I've actually thought about a lot. Very recently. This question has been put up by Desperate Drawer. He said, how has the UK ended up so dirty? Absolutely true, man. I think this guy's in London because he said he's walking in Holborn, London, yesterday, and the streets were dirty. Bin bags everywhere. Overall uncleanliness was obvious. It seems to be the case in a lot of the UK, which is true. It's just horrible. Why and what has caused this? I'm going to answer that question. In Birmingham itself, now I've had a problem with Birmingham City Council. Some of you probably already know this. I don't know if it's happening in your part of the city. Birmingham Council were absolutely broke. They got bankrupt, which is a shambles. For the amount of money they charge us, I mean, it's over £1,000, easy. I don't even know how much it is. I don't even want to look. But it's a lot of money every year to pay the council. For the past 4 weeks now, our bins have not been collected. And I believe there was a strike going on with the Birmingham Council bin men were on strike. So our recycle stuff, right? The first week when this strike was announced, I noticed the dump truck come down. He took the recycle and the actual bin bags and put it all in the one dumpster. And I thought, that's not recycling. And you could see it was a private company. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that's a private company. That's not the actual council. You know what I mean? And then, ever since then, they've not been coming to collect the recycles. So it's been piling and piling. I don't like throwing plastics and tins into the regular bin bag. I like to recycle. That's me. I can't help it. I think I've definitely got OCD. I care about the planet. As much as I hate it, I do care about it. So they haven't been collecting. It's just been piling up. One of my lovely neighbours, she's been taking some of the plastics down to the local skip. And that's been nice of her. But the problem is it just keeps piling up. And I've heard this now, right? We're coming up to the end of February now. Apparently this strike is going on all the way till April. There's going to be chaos. I was looking on Facebook. Somebody put up a post saying the streets of Birmingham are filthy. There's rubbish everywhere. The people are seeing cat-sized rats. That's how big it is. No wonder I got a rat in the frigging garage. That explains it. Birmingham Council, absolutely rubbish. I feel like the country's gone downhill. I don't know what you guys feel like. It's just, I don't know, man. It's never been this bad. It's just gone, it's getting worse and worse. So in a way, yes, I think why is probably because councils are not paying as much now. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the budget to clean the streets has gone down. I really don't know. But it is awful. I've been to areas in Birmingham, like Handsworth, and it's not a pretty sight. When I took my son for an haircut, there's this one corner. I'm not going to blame a certain minority group. I'm just going to say they begin with an R, ends with an A. Ends with an N. I'm thinking of the country. Starts with an R, ends with an N. You can work it out. They just put rubbish everywhere, man. Like, I couldn't even walk on the pavement. That's how bad it was. And I was like, this is really, really bad. I'm so happy where I live because I don't think I could live in Handsworth anymore. No way, man. I can't live in that area. It's just bad. Like, really, really bad. I'm going to read a couple of comments to see what people are saying about it. Someone said cancel cutbacks. Exactly what I said. Also, people not taking responsibility of their own rubbish. Yeah, I think, yeah, kind of. I think most of it is council cutbacks. That's basically what it is. Everyone is saying the same thing. I'm looking down the comment section. People don't care about the environment, somebody said. Expect others to clean up after them and too lazy to take their rubbish home. Yeah, that's another thing. That is another thing. I remember when cleaning the streets was a massive government campaign. And I think it worked for a while. But I don't see that anymore. Sometimes I will see on the motorway, a sign will come up and it will say, take your rubbish home. You know, stuff like that. Don't throw litter out the window, which is common sense, especially on a motorway or a dual carriageway. Don't throw your rubbish out. I see like truck drivers throwing out their fag ends out the windows. They don't really care, do they, truck drivers? Their cabin is probably filled with junk, most likely, these truck drivers. Anyway, I'm not having a go at truck drivers. That was today's Ask the UK. And as I did say, let's just end this podcast with the weird news story. Today's title of the weird news story is NASA funded an experiment went horribly wrong after a dolphin fell in love with his trainer. And then on the bottom it says, to say that things went horribly wrong is quite the understatement. Let's see what this is all about. NASA sent out funding for all manners of things across the world, but it is unlikely they anticipated how wrong this experiment could have gone. Back in the 1960s, Margaret Howie Lovat, shout out to Margaret Howie, from St. Thomas in US Virgin Island, was a key part of rather of an unexpected but perfectly normal experiment involving dolphins. In her early 20s, she moved to the island after hearing they had a lab full of dolphins and she wanted to be part of the research. Despite her lack of scientific experience describing herself as a naturalist, she managed to win over the director of the laboratory, Greg Bateson, shout out to Greg Bateson, and was invited back to the lab after driving into on a whim. While at the lab, she became acquainted with neuroscientist John Lilly, who was building a research laboratory funding from NASA and the US Navy, with the goal of speaking extraterrestrial life forms. As a sort of test run, Lilly built a sort of dolphin house flooded with water known as the dolphinarium. Lilly accommodated 3 dolphins, 2 females named Sissy and Pamela, and 1 younger male bottlenose dolphin named Peter. I really hope it was Peter that fell in love with her. And this is about the last bit of normality in this story. Lovat was determined to get Peter talking and was well aware he and the other dolphins could mimic human voices, in hopes that speaking English around Peter would allow him to mimic better. In a similar way, a mother teaches a child to speak. She decided to move into the dolphinarium, but the experiment seemed to get derailed due to the sexual urges of the dolphin as it was reaching adulthood. This initially meant the time between Peter and Lovat had to be cut short so that he could mingle with the other females. However, Lovat grew tired of these interruptions and decided to help out younger Peter. Manually, if you catch my drift. She was pleasuring a dolphin. No wonder they fell in love. To explain this bizarre turn of events, she said, Peter liked to be with me. He would rub himself on my knee or my foot or my hand. And at first, I would put him downstairs with the girls. Speaking about how she helped him along, she added, I was uncomfortable with it. As long as it wasn't rough, it would just become part of what was going on, like an itch. She just got rid of it, scratch it and move on. And that's how it seemed to work out. It wasn't private. People could observe it. Imagine watching Going Down the Sea Life show, and you've seen the trainer pleasuring a dolphin. I don't know how to take this. It wasn't sexual on my part, sensuous perhaps. It seemed to me that it made the bond closer, not because of the sexual activity, but because the lack of helping to keep breaking. And that really all it was. I was there to get to know Peter. That was part of Peter. Yeah, Peter's a pervert, man. Hustler eventually got a hold of the intimate nature between the two and dramatized the situation. As you can imagine, the appearance in the magazine massively overshadowed the experiment and reflected badly on the research. This eventually led to Lily's dolphinarium being defunded due to the bad publicity and the lack of results for communication experiment. Levat defended her relationship with Peter and attempted to explain her research further to distance herself from controversy, as seen in the BBC documentary The Girl Who Talked to Dolphins. More like The Girl Who Pleasured Dolphins. That's what they should have called it. Oh my God, that is absolutely mental. She should have just married the dolphin, then they would have got away with it. That's what people do, innit? These weirdos that marry, like, you know, weird stuff. Oh God, that was today's weird news story, and yes, it was today's podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I will speak to you guys next week, and hopefully I'll have something to tell you. Who knows? No idea.